talk to you today a little bit about some issues that have been in the newspaper and have been in the forefront since I became mayor in January. And one of them is that we more commonly call it the water issue, but today, you know, I wanted to give you a little bit of historical facts of where we began and where we're at today. And in reality, I've come to the conclusion it is not a water issue, that there is another underlying issue that I think that the citizens of Texarkana, both Arkansas and Texas, needs to hear from the perspective of Texarkana, Arkansas. And I'd like to start out a little bit of historical data in that for more than 60 years, the city of Texarkana, Arkansas and Texarkana, Texas have successfully and beneficially operated a joint and mutually managed water and wastewater treatment department. During those 60+ years, there have been differences, but we've always been able to work out our differences. Our differences has recently escalated, resulting in a pending federal lawsuit seeking relief to require Texarkana, Texas to follow an agreed-upon contract. There are several references in these contracts between the two cities which identify our forefathers' intent. Texarkana Water Utility was to be a co-owned and co-managed department. In the 1985 agreement, both cities, and I will state from the contract, agree and acknowledge that the separate water and sewer system of each is currently operated and managed by Texarkana Water Utility under joint operating arrangements previously approved by both cities. This agreement also stated both cities confirm and approve the continued joint operation of their respective water and sewer systems by Texarkana Water Utilities. Prior to 2008, the respective city managers were able to reach an agreeable solution to disputes as they arose. At this time, the working relationship changed from being a mutual arrangement to a dictatorial attitude by the Texarkana, Texas city manager, Larry Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan stated his plan was to remove TWU as the operator-manager of a portion of Texarkana, Texas water and sewer system and replace TWU with another organization known at that time as Riverbend Water Resource District. Mr. Sullivan informed Texarkana, Arkansas city manager that he, Mr. Sullivan, expected full support of this decision from Texarkana, Arkansas. When informed, Texarkana, Arkansas could not support this concept because it violated our contract, which stipulated TWU as a joint operation of both water and sewer system. Mr. Sullivan initiated a response that has become a mainstay for Texarkana, Texas when someone does not agree with Mr. Sullivan. All communications between Texarkana, Texas city manager and Texarkana, Arkansas city manager was terminated by Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan initiated his plan without allowing Texarkana, Arkansas to be involved in the decisions affecting TWU. Mr. Sullivan needed a villain to justify his plan to divest TWU of its responsibility. And in 2009, he chose the executive director of TWU as that individual. Mr. Sullivan attempted to coerce the TWU executive director to retiring under threat of termination. Texarkana, Arkansas opposed this tactic and cited the 1985 agreement signed by both elected bodies, noting TWU was a joint operation which was to be mutually operated and managed. In April 2010, Larry Sullivan made the conscious decision to disregard the 1985 agreement by withdrawing TWU Executive Director's authority to act on behalf of Texarkana, Texas pertaining to TWU purchasing, travel, intergovernmental, human resource, and public directives. This withdrawal of authority effectively constituted a unilateral termination of TWU Executive Director because the water and sewer systems of Texarkana, Arkansas and Texarkana, Texas are integrated and are in reality a single system. Mr. Sullivan publicly stated the TWU Executive Director was not terminated, but behind closed doors, he was advocating, he was insisting, and he was demanding an interim director be appointed. Where I come from, when you're replacing a person, effectively eliminating his responsibilities and authority, that's terminating that person. The responsibilities Mr. Sullivan removed from the executive director were subsequently transferred from TWU to employees under his dictatorial authority, resulting in terminating, once again, part of the contract, the continued joint operation of Texarkana, Arkansas and Texarkana, Texas water and sewer systems by Texarkana Water Utilities as agreed upon in our 1985 agreement. Communications between Texarkana, Texas and Texarkana, Arkansas did not produce an acceptable resolution to this blatant breach of contract. Texarkana, Arkansas's ability to adequately represent the vital interest of its citizens had been eliminated by Mr. Sullivan's initiation of a master plan to divest or fire TWU of its responsibilities to Texarkana, Arkansas and Texarkana, Texas, and transfer those duties to another entity called Riverbend Water Resources District. This transfer would have effectively left Texarkana, Texas unable to have input or authority concerning the water rates of its citizens and would actually leave Texarkana, Arkansas as a water customer of Texarkana, Texas. The 1985 agreement specifically addresses how any and all disputes are to be settled by stating, in the event that any dispute shall arise as to carrying out any of the rights, duties, or obligations arising out of this agreement, such dispute shall be settled by arbitration. Texarkana, Texas refused to instruct their city manager to stop his daily interference with the operation of TWU and return the duties and responsibilities he removed to the executive director. In addition to this specific concern, Texarkana, Texas refused to move forward with a needed upgrade of the wastewater treatment plant on South State Line, placement of the water treatment plant on New Boston Road, and their insistence Texarkana, Texas would decide where a water treatment plant would be constructed and remove TWU as the operator of that plant. Texarkana, Texas was unwilling to consider alternatives to any of these issues. Therefore, Texarkana, Arkansas had no other avenue but to invoke arbitration as prescribed in our 1985 agreement. When notified we wanted to invoke arbitration, Texarkana, Texas' response was an adamant no. They would not participate in arbitration process. At this time, a trend was developing on how Texarkana, Texas responds to any concerns raised by Texarkana, Arkansas. That procedure was when Texarkana, Arkansas declined to accept whatever Texarkana, Texas decides needs to be done, they refused to discuss it and move forward with their plan of action. Texarkana, Arkansas was left with no other alternative than initiate a federal lawsuit requesting Texarkana, Texas be compelled to honor the 1985 agreement component of settling our dispute by arbitration. I became involved with this dispute upon being elected mayor. I made a commitment and a promise to Texarkana, Arkansas residents I would protect their vital rights and their vital interests, and I would work with Texarkana, Texas officials to resolve the water dispute. During my initial meeting with Mayor Mayo, I assured him I was willing to discuss the issue. I was willing to consider any reasonable proposal. I was willing to cooperate and resolve any issues that may arise. And I was even willing to compromise if need be. I also informed Mayor Mayo that I was not willing, nor would I relinquish Texarkana, Arkansas's vital interests. I assured Mayor Mayo I could not be intimidated by anyone, and I would use all avenues available to protect Texarkana, Arkansas's interests. Mayor Mayo and I met several times, and all was okay as long as I agreed with his ideals, his proposals, and his recommendations. The first time I disagreed with him, Mayor Mayo accused me of not being willing to talk. I lacked the intellectual ability to comprehend how important and correct his proposal was, and I was accused of being a conspiracy theorist. At that time, I realized Mayor Mayo was controlled by Larry Sullivan, and he had no desire to do anything other than allow Mr. Sullivan to utilize him as an alter ego to dismantle TWU, build a water treatment plant at Tex Americas, and ensure another entity, Texarkana, Texas, had absolute control of to operate and manage the current water system, thereby causing Texarkana, Arkansas to become a water customer of Texarkana, Texas. I refuse to allow an entity that has functioned well over 60 years managing and operating our water system to be dismantled without a fight.